Before humans became hunters, what was hunting us? Why would one muddy riverbank be as dangerous as any battlefield? And did a giant crocodile help shape where early humans could live? Before humans were hunters, they were prey. On a riverbank in ancient Ethiopia, the most dangerous question was not what can we eat, it was what is waiting in the water. The story begins at Hadar, in the Afar region of Ethiopia. This is the landscape that gave the world Lucy, the famous Australopithecus afarensis skeleton discovered in 1974, and one of the icons of human evolution. Lucy showed that our relatives were walking on two legs more than 3 million years ago, but walking upright did not make them safe. It may have made every trip to water more exposed. A new study in the Journal of Systematic Paleontology names a predator from that same world, Crocodylus lucivenator. The name means Lucy's hunter. And the name is not just poetic. Researchers estimate that adults were about 12 to 15 feet long, roughly the size of a small car, and weighed from 600 to 1,300 pounds. So pause the museum image of early humans as confident hunters. In this chapter, the water's edge belonged to something heavier, lower, quieter and faster in the final second than any hominin on the bank. That is why a fossil predator belongs on a human channel. It is not a side character. It is part of the rulebook our ancestors had to learn before any city, kingdom or written myth existed. Here is the retention question. If the best water also held the worst predator, how did early humans decide when to approach it? That decision may have mattered every day. Every animal that drinks must negotiate the same problem. The open bank gives visibility, but it gives no cover. The shaded bank gives plants and cooler air, but it also gives a crocodile a place to disappear. The fossils were not a single lucky tooth. The team examined 121 catalogued remains, mostly skulls, jaws and teeth, representing dozens of individuals from Hadar. The lead author, Christopher Brochu of the University of Iowa, first examined the specimens in Addis Ababa in 2016. What stood out was a strange mix of features that did not fit living African crocodiles. One feature was a prominent hump on the snout, similar in position to structures seen in some modern crocodiles, but unlike the Nile crocodile most people associate with Africa today. Another feature was the length of the snout in front of the nostrils. In the paper, these details help place Lucy's hunter inside the crocodile family tree, not as a random monster, but as a real branch of evolution. But for Lucy's species, anatomy was not an academic detail. A crocodile's body is built around one strategy: wait where prey must come, stay almost invisible, and turn one mistake into a death roll. Modern crocodiles do not need to chase across open ground. They use the bank itself as a trap. Eyes, nostrils, and rough skin float just above the surface, while the body remains hidden below. Now place that strategy in Hadar between 3.4 and 3 million years ago. The environment was not empty desert. Researchers describe a changing mosaic of shrubland, wetlands, rivers, gallery forests, wet grasslands, and woodlands. This is the second question. Were early humans choosing landscapes for food, or were they also choosing landscapes by fear? A river gives water, plants, animals, shade, and fossils. It also gives cover to predators. Hadar is famous because it preserves hominin bones, but the same deposits preserve the animals around them. That context matters. A fossil ancestor without its predators is like a crime scene with half the witnesses removed. The University of Iowa released quotes Brochu calling Lucy's hunter the largest predator in that ecosystem, more dangerous than the big cats and hyenas that shared the wider world of early hominins. The paper does not claim that one crocodile species invented human caution. Evolution is rarely that simple, but a predator this large tells us that water access had a cost, and repeated costs become selective pressure. That does not mean this crocodile killed Lucy herself. Science cannot say that, but it can say the overlap is real. Lucy's kind and Lucy's hunter lived in the same region and time window. And that overlap changes the way we imagine deep time. Early humans were not walking through a clean diagram. They were crossing a living landscape where the wrong drink, the wrong crossing, or the wrong muddy step could be fatal. The fossils also preserve behaviour inside the crocodile world itself. One specimen had partially healed injuries on the jaw, signs that it survived a fight, probably face-biting with another crocodile. Think about the body of Australopithecus afarensis. Small compared with later humans. No metal, no fire-hardened weapons in this scene, no walls, no boats, and no safe distance from the edge if the group needed water. Stephanie Drumheller of the University of Tennessee notes that similar face-biting behaviour appears across the crocodile family tree. In other words, this animal was dangerous not only to hominins but to its own kind. That detail matters because it makes the scene less like a monster story and more like ecology. Predators compete, rivers concentrate life, bodies carry the record of violence long after the moment has passed. Here is the third question. If a predator can make a safe resource dangerous, can it shape culture before culture leaves many artifacts? Fear can organise movement, group size, timing, vigilance and memory. This also changes how we read silence in the fossil record. We usually find bones and stones. We rarely find panic, warning calls, learned routes, or the memory of a place where someone vanished. A group might approach water together instead of alone. It might avoid certain banks. It might learn seasons, paths, and warning signs. None of that fossilises easily, but the predator helps explain why such decisions would matter. This is where the primitive human question comes before the subject. The subject is a fossil crocodile. The question is older and sharper. How do small upright apes survive when the best places are also killing grounds? Lucy's hunter also reminds us that human evolution was not only about tools, brains, and walking. It was also about risk. Bodies evolved inside food webs, under pressure from animals that did not care what humans would become. Many modern primates treat water and predators with caution, and many social animals survive by watching each other. Deep time probably had its own version of that vigilance. Heads turning, bodies clustering, movement timed to reduce risk. By the time Homo sapiens appears much later, humans will become expert hunters, planners, and storytellers. But that later confidence sits on top of a deeper past, where water could mean life and terror in the same reflection. So what was hunting early humans? In Hadar, one answer had teeth, a hidden body, and a name that sounds like a warning from deep time. Crocodylus lucivenator, Lucy's hunter. And the next time we imagine our ancestors standing proudly on two legs, we should also imagine what they were looking for in the water. Because before humans mastered the hunt, they had to survive being hunted. That is the power of Lucy's hunter. It gives teeth to an invisible part of human evolution. Not the invention we made, but the danger we had to notice, remember, and teach others to avoid.